Hey guys, welcome back to What If Twins. This is part 4 of What If Naruto's and Uchiha x Namikaze. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe.
Chapter 7. Precious Bonds. Jiraiya was bored. He was sitting in the same place since the past few hours waiting for the Elder Toad to wake up. If not for the prophecy, he would have already left the place. Even Shima had left, saying she couldn't wait any longer to hear some dumb old frog's prophecy, and she had to attend to her precious cooking. Of course, this had led to a big argument between her and Fukasaku, which ended with Shima giving him a bop on the head and leaving grumpily. So now he and Fukasaku stood in the vacant hall waiting for the elder to wake up. Seconds passed, minutes started passing quickly, and Jiraiya was getting angry with each passing moment. After finally waiting for another hour, he lost it. "Wake up, you baka," yelled Jiraiya at the top of his lungs. "Jiraiya boy, don't speak in such a tone to the great elder," warned Fukasaku sternly. "I'm sorry, sensei, but I have been waiting for the past 10 hours waiting for him to wake up," said Jiraiya frustratingly. "I understand, but the only time the elder is even remotely awake is when he is hungry, or if a young female toad was dancing for him," said Fukasaku wearily. Realization struck Jiraiya. How could he forget that the geezer toad was very perverted? "Stupid! Stupid! Stupid," thought Jiraiya frustratingly, and smacked his forehead repeatedly on his obliviousness. Fukasaku just watched his student's antics with an amused smile on his face. Even after all these years, Jiraiya acted childish most of the time. He was quite surprised when Jiraiya jumped at the elder's throne and was now standing on his chest. "Hench!" Immediately Jiraiya transformed into a very beautiful female toad and spoke in a sultry voice. "Please wake up," whispered the female toad, aka transformed Jiraiya seductively into the elder's ears. The elder's eyes slowly opened, and when he saw a sexy female toad in front of him, a sly perverted drool came on his face, and he was sent flying back into the wall behind him. He was knocked unconscious again, but there was a large smile on his old face. Jiraiya's hench was broken when Fukasaku gave him a hard bop on his head with his cane multiple times. "Ow! Ow! Ow!" yelled Jiraiya in pain. "You idiot, what did you do?" said Fukasaku angrily. "Huh?" asked Jiraiya in confusion. He didn't understand why his teacher was angry. "You knocked him out cold. He'll not wake up again for a few hours," said Fukasaku frustratingly. Jiraiya's eyes widened when he realized what his actions had done. He couldn't believe his own stupidity. "No!" Naruto stood in the training field of his house. Today was a new day, and his training had been going very successful and effortless. His mother had even said that he was a prodigy in hiding. That had made him a little happy, but he didn't let that get to his head, as his grandfather had always told him that ego can lead to a man's downfall. He had mastered the tree walking exercise and could now run on top of the trees with ease. Things also seemed to be getting a little better with his father. They could now stand beside each other. They even used to talk with each other a little more now, and according to Makoto, that was a great development. Naruto had decided that he would train as hard as he could in order to protect everyone in the village. He could now understand why the village was so important. He still remembered his time with his grandfather Kagami, the values which he had taught him. Naruto was standing in front of the Naka River. Today he was spending time with his grandfather. He really liked his grandfather. The man was always kind to him, although he was stricter than anyone he ever knew. Kagami was a man of values and wisdom. He was a very calm person and was always fair to each person. Many people expected him to teach his grandson the various ninja arts and make him a strong shinobi. But Kagami had different thoughts. He wanted his grandson to understand what life was. He believed that instead of teaching his grandson how to use a kunai and kill a man, he should teach him how much valuable a life is. He wanted Naruto to experience the small joys of life which he never had due to fighting in the first great ninja war. Kagami had spent his entire life on the battlefield. He had seen countless deaths, he had fought, he had shed blood, cried, and had given everything to protect Konoha. He had lost many friends in war, and he knew the horrors every war left on people. Not just those who fought in it, but those left behind, the children, the women, the parents, the friends, and the siblings. He knew Konoha was on the brink of another great ninja war. Even though he was old, he was still one of the strongest and the most experienced shinobi of the village. So he would have to participate in the fourth war of his life. A war changes a person in ways that nobody could ever imagine, and when he looked at his grandson his heart broke. The boy was so young, far too young for a war. Hell, he was not at all old enough to see bloodshed, and yet he would have to face them. Kagami knew he couldn't control Naruto's future, but he still could make efforts so that his grandson's life turns out better than his own. "Hey Gigi, you were going to show me how to catch fish," said Naruto politely. Kagami was brought of his thoughts when he heard Naruto's voice. He looked at the curious face of Naruto and a small smile came on his face. He gently ruffled Naruto's slicky blonde hair and gave the signal to watch him. "Fishing is a very unique thing. It requires a lot of patience, but you will enjoy it," said Kagami with a smile. "Teach me," said Naruto excitedly. Kagami chuckled a little on hearing his grandson's excited voice. Naruto really reminded him of Shisui. Both the boys were similar to each other. "All right, I'll show you," said Kagami calmly. For the next hour he taught Naruto everything he knew about fishing. The boy was listening to him with great concentration and interest, which pleased Kagami. It had been a few minutes since they were trying to catch a fish and Naruto was getting a little anxious. "Why aren't we catching any fish?" asked Naruto with a pout. "We will catch some, don't lose your patience. A person must be calm in order to understand things better," said Kagami patiently. Silence followed for a few moments as both grandfather and grandson sat there in peace waiting for results. Both of them were sitting quietly and were enjoying the peace that nature was providing. Something was bugging Naruto and he decided to ask his grandfather about it. "Hey Gigi," said Naruto slowly. His voice was very low. It was as if he didn't like to talk about whatever subject he had in mind. Said Kagami silently. "What is a war?" asked Naruto curiously. Kagami was quite surprised by Naruto's question. He looked at Naruto and he could clearly see Naruto was not at all enthusiastic about this subject. He gave a silent nod and was quite content that his grandson was different and was not like most of the children who would be too eager to become a hero and listen to war stories. War is a situation when people forget about each other's feelings and fight for their own greed. Everyone claims that their war is for justice or for prosperity, but there is no such thing. In every war people die. It doesn't matter whether you are rich, poor, strong, weak, or anything else. All of us share a common fate and that is death, explained Kagami briefly. "Then why do wars happen?" asked Naruto sadly. "Humans are very complicated, Naruto. All of us have some darkness within us." "Even you have darkness within you," said Kagami simply. "I," said Naruto hesitantly. Kagami put a hand on Naruto's head and gave him a gentle smile. "But more than that, you have a good heart. Everyone has darkness, but they also have light within their souls. It's just people have to find that light and understand each other, then maybe there won't be any more wars," said Kagami with a tired sigh. "Have you fought in a war?" asked Naruto hesitantly. If war was such a bad thing, then it must have been very painful for his grandfather. "Yes, I have fought in 3 great ninja wars," said Kagami disappointingly. Many people would boast about how they fought in a great war, but the real soldiers knew there was nothing to boast about a war. "You must have been a hero," said Naruto curiously. Kagami chuckled a little on hearing his grandson's innocent answer. "Naruto, I am not a hero. The real heroes are the ones who never made it back home and gave their lives to protect what was precious to them. Just like my sensei Tobirama Senju," said Kagami sadly, as he remembered his mentor. "You were the student of the second Hokage?" asked Naruto in shock, making Kagami chuckle again. "Well, yes, I was a part of his team," said Kagami with a smile. "What kind of person was he?" asked Naruto curiously. Tobirama Sensei was a very odd person. He was very strict, but he also cared very much about the village, and everyone in it. He even gave his life to protect his team, said Kagami proudly. "How did he die?" asked Naruto sadly. "It was during the first Great Ninja War. Our team was surrounded by a lot of skilled Kumo ninja. They were a part of the famous Kinkaku unit. We were outnumbered," said Kagami sadly. Naruto thought about the entire battle scene. His analytical mind had already started working. He had heard about this Kinkaku unit from his father. They were Kumo's best ninja. If his grandfather's team was surrounded and outnumbered, then the only chance they had of escape was. "He acted as a decoy, didn't he?" asked Naruto sadly. "How did you guess?" asked Kagami in shock. "There was no other choice. Your team was outnumbered and surrounded. Even if they didn't know your exact position, your conditions were not good. Suppose if you can make a surprise attack on the enemy, but you will soon be overpowered as you didn't have the numbers, and which would lead to total massacre of your team. This left only one option. One member had to act as a decoy to buy the others time to escape. It had to be the strongest person of your team, as the Kinkaku unit is heard to be the best. Since the Nighting was the strongest, he was the only logical option as a decoy, but that would, explain Naruto strategically. But refrained from saying the last part as he knew his grandfather was quite close to the second Hokage. He thought exactly the same thing like me, but I was much older than him when I was in that situation, thought an amazed Kagami. Naruto, you will make an excellent squad leader, said Kagami proudly. But I don't want to kill anybody. I have a family. I love Kaa-chan, Itachi, Tu-chan, you, and Shisui Ajisen. But there are also others who may have a family like me, aren't there? Asked Naruto curiously. I understand. I know exactly what you are feeling right now. Shinobi are protectors, not killers, said Kagami seriously. Kagami looked at Naruto briefly. The boy sure asked a lot of questions. But it was natural, many kids his age were like that, and since Naruto knew he had to fight in a war, he was anxious. Kagami was happy that his grandson considered him trustworthy to share his feelings. He knew these questions were very important in shaping Naruto's life and his beliefs, and as his grandfather it was his duty to guide him and show him the right path. Gigi, what is a village, and what are shinobi? Asked Naruto curiously. A village is a place where people come together. It is a place where people put aside all their past differences and end the chaos. It is a place where the children and the old are protected, the young prosper. It is a place where people can spend their life in peace, said Kagami carefully. And shinobi, what are they? Asked Naruto firmly. Shinobi are people who endure and protect what is precious to them. Inside every shinobi of this village burns the will of fire, said Kagami simply. Will of fire? Asked Naruto curiously. It's the unbreakable bond that every shinobi in the village has with each other. It gives us the strength to protect our village, said Kagami gently. Do I have a will of fire too? Asked Naruto excitedly. Kagami chuckled a little and patted Naruto's shoulders. Of course, my boy. The will of fire burns brightly in you, said Kagami proudly. Thank you, said Naruto with a smile. Naruto, first of all look at yourself rationally and know yourself. If you don't know who you are, then you will put the lives of your comrades in danger, said Kagami sagely. Hi, said Naruto firmly. Can you fulfill one last wish of mine? Asked Kagami slowly. Anything for you, said Naruto happily, which brought a smile on Kagami's face. Don't be hasty, you are still young. Your time to die will come. Until that time, live your life to the fullest. Protect those who love the village, and those who believe in you, and pass the will of fire to the next generation. This is your duty, said Kagami seriously. Naruto gave a very determined gaze to his grandfather, and gave a small nod to him. I promise you, Gigi, as long as I live, I won't let anything happen to this village, and my family. I'll even give my life to protect them, said Naruto fiercely. A wide, proud smile came on Kagami's face, and he embraces Naruto in a warm hug. You are the future of this village. I leave the rest to you, said Kagami gently. Hi, said Naruto firmly and hugged his grandfather. Sensei, I have finally passed your legacy and your will to the next generation, thought Kagami happily. A small smile came on his face as he remembered what his grandfather had taught him. I will never go back on my word, thought Naruto with determination. What are you thinking, Naru-chan? Asked Makoto kindly. Naruto was brought out of his thoughts. He looked up, and saw his mother looking at him. She was in her medic uniform, indicating she had just returned from the hospital. She had Itachi in her arms, and he was also looking at him curiously. It's nothing, Kaa-chan, said Naruto sheepishly and scratched the back of his head with a small chuckle. Naruto, said Makoto with a giggle. Bakani-san, said Itachi with a laugh. What was that shrimp? Asked Naruto with narrowed eyes. A small tick mark had already formed on his forehead. Naruto looked at his brother for a few moments, as Itachi gave him the best poker face. Naruto sighed. He knew he had heard something, but since he didn't have any proof he let it slide. Itachi was quite surprised when Makoto grabbed his small ear gently and brought him closer to her face. You've got quite a loud mouth, said Makoto sternly. Sorry, said Itachi cutely. What am I going to do with you? Said Makoto tiredly, making Itachi laugh. Naruto watched both his mother and brother with an amused smile on his face. Maybe this was what Gigi meant. I'll become a strong shinobi to protect my precious people, thought Naruto happily. So, Naru-chan, I heard from Minato that you have mastered the tree walking exercise, asked Makoto curiously. Yes, I am now good at it, said Naruto modestly. Well, would you like me to teach you the next exercise, asked Makoto kindly. Hi, said Naruto excitedly. Makoto came forward and handed over Itachi to Naruto so that she could show him the exercise. She gave Naruto the signal to follow him. Both the brothers followed their mother until they reached the small lake of their house. What are we doing here, Ka-chan? Asked Naruto curiously. Today I'll be teaching you the water walking exercise, said Makoto seriously. Walking on water? Asked both Naruto and Itachi in shock. Makoto giggled a little on seeing the shocked faces of both her sons. Well, yes, comparatively to tree walking, this exercise is a lot harder. It won't be easy to master, Naruto-chan, said Makoto with a challenging smirk. Bring it on, said Naruto firmly. All right. This training method is used to gain better chakra control. To do this, the user has to be emitting a constant stream of chakra from the bottom of their feet, and using the repellent force to walk across the water's surface, explained Makoto briefly. Can you show me how it's done, Ka-chan? Requested Naruto. Makoto nodded and slowly channeled a small amount of chakra in her feet. She then gracefully started walking on the water of the lake. Naruto and Itachi both were shocked when they really saw their mother walking on water. Nisan, Ka-chan, said Itachi in shock. She is amazing, said Naruto in awe. Well, if you two are done praising me, I'd like to explain something to you, said Makoto with a gentle smile. Both the boys gave a sheepish smile to their mother. Naruto gave her a nod indicating he was ready to learn. With tree walking, you learn how to gather chakra in specific quantity in your feet. But water walking is very different, said Makoto seriously. How so? Asked Naruto confusedly. Well, trees are stationary, and the energy you mentioned that trees have is also constant. Water is not like that, it is constantly moving and the flow of energy in it is irregular, said Makoto briefly. So how can I walk on water, Ka-chan? Asked Naruto intriguingly. First of all, focus chakra in your feet and try to walk on the water, said Makoto with a devious smirk. She knew what was going to happen, but she wanted to see if Naruto could figure out the exercise by himself. Plus his face would be hilarious. Naruto gave a nod. Makoto came forward and took Itachi back in her arms, earning a small smile from the little boy. Naruto did as his mother told him and put his right leg on the water, and then slowly put his left leg on the water too. He was shocked when suddenly he lost his balance and fell into the cold water. He could faintly hear both his mother and his brother's laugh coming from the surface. He slowly opened his eyes and looked around. All he could see was blue color around him. What should I do? Thought Naruto worriedly as he slowly started drowning. He was scared, he didn't know what to do. He tried to move his hands, but the water was far too cold. He felt his energy leaving his body. His eyes started to close. He could hear his mother's worried voice to come up, but he couldn't. Am I going to die? Thought Naruto fearfully. He didn't want to die, at least not yet. He had so many dreams, so many things to do. He had made a promise to his grandfather. His eyes suddenly widened when he realized something. Naruto, you must look at yourself rationally and know who you are, otherwise you would put your comrade's life in danger. He remembered the exact words his grandfather had told him. What was he? What was his power? He had to protect everyone. How could he become successful and make it back alive? Water is not like that, it is constantly moving and the flow of energy in it is irregular. Realization struck him as he understood the meaning behind his mother's words. He had finally found a way. He quickly used his sensor abilities, and to his utter amazement he could feel the energy in the water. He could feel how different it was in each and every molecule. He could feel the nature's power all around him. The water was looking calm, but the energy which it had in itself was enormous. He felt the power of his own chakra and the stability it had in it. He felt a strange sensation in his gut. He didn't know what this weird feeling was. It was as if he had a life force of his own. It is not possible to reduce the amount of energy that water has, but maybe if I can increase the power of my chakra then I can control water, thought Naruto analytically. He had finally found a plan. She was scared to death. It had been 30 seconds since Naruto hadn't come out and she was just about to jump in the lake to rescue her son. Even Itachi was yelling at his older brother to come out. A few tears had already formed in his eyes. She was just about to jump when she felt the huge blast of chakra. Violent waves started forming in the lake, a few even crashed near Makoto and Itachi. She quickly jumped and got her younger son out of the way. She hopped on a nearby tree in order to save Itachi from the waves. She put her younger son on the branch. He was crying loudly as he was worried for his big brother. But Makoto knew she didn't have time to comfort him. At first she had thought that Naruto was joking, but it seemed he was in trouble. She jumped towards the lake but was shocked when she saw what was in the center of the lake. There stood Naruto on top of a 20-foot tidal wave. His face was calm, his eyes were closed. His wet hair was falling on his face, making him look more handsome. His clothes were drenched, but what shocked Makoto was that her son was standing on top of a tidal wave which was not stable at all. In her stupor she forgot the small wave of water that was about to hit her violently. But when she sensed the water coming towards her, it was too late. Shit, thought Makoto, and prepared to substitute herself. She was quite surprised when the sound of colliding water waves stopped around her. There was complete silence. She slowly opened her eyes and was shocked to see every wave, small or big, was standing still. It was as if they had been frozen. She looked at Naruto and was shocked when she saw he had his hands spread and it looked as if he was controlling the waves itself. Impossible, thought Makoto in amazement. Naruto Namikaze was controlling water. Jiraiya was crying his eyes out. This was blasphemy. How could the elder torture him like this? Even Fukasaku was giving him a sympathetic look. Finally, after a few moments, the elder slowly opened his eyes and looked around. "Where am I?" asked the elder toad sleepily. "Mount Miyaboku," said Fukasaku tiredly. "It was always like this. The geezer would always wake up and would have no idea where he was." "You summon me?" asked Jiraiya eagerly. His patience was over. The elder toad looked at Jiraiya and gave a yawn. Jiraiya's eyebrows twitched a bit in annoyance. "Who are you?" asked the elder in confusion. "This is Jiraiya." "Jiraiya," said Fukasaku irritatingly. "Oh, you have come. You made me wait a lot," said the elder toad with a chuckle. "I'm gonna kill him," thought Jiraiya frustratingly. "The prophecy which you said you had to tell," suggested Fukasaku quickly as he sensed Jiraiya's anger about to burst. The elder looked at the small toad in amusement. "Who are you again?" asked the elder sleepily. "Now I'm gonna kill him," thought Fukasaku angrily. The elder sensed both the youngling's patience decreasing and he decided that it was enough joking for now. "I have called you here as I had a dream that showed me a little bit about the future and the fate of the shinobi world," said the elder toad and closed his eyes. "What did you see?" asked Jiraiya seriously. "I am sure that the child of prophecy has been born in this world," said the elder seriously. "But Minato is the child of prophecy," said Jiraiya in confusion. "No, your student and you will be the ones that will be guiding this revolutionary," said the elder toad firmly. "Did you see who it was?" asked Jiraiya anxiously, as guiding that child of prophecy was his destiny and the goal of his life. "A boy who has exceptional visual prowess and physical power. I haven't seen such a powerful child in ages. He will be a master of every ninjutsu, and will be one of the strongest shinobi in the world. He has a portion of the Sage of Six Paths power," said the elder, shocking Jiraiya and Fukasaku both. "What kind of power?" asked Fukasaku curiously. "The power which only one man had in the past," said the elder toad and gave Fukasaku a knowing look. "It can't be," thought a shocked Fukasaku, only he knew the entire truth. "But how can he have such a power?" "Where can I find him?" asked Jiraiya curiously. "That is your destiny. I don't know the identity of this boy, but I can feel his presence in the shinobi world," said the elder toad. "I'll find him, no matter what," said Jiraiya hurriedly and turned to leave, but was stopped when he heard the elder toad's words. "Jiraiya, there is something that you should know," said the elder toad in a dark tone. Jiraiya was shocked when he heard the elder being so serious. It must be really important. That boy has a sea of darkness in him, waiting to be unleashed on the shinobi world. "There will come a time when the boy would be asked to make a choice," said the elder toad warily. "What kind of choice?" asked Jiraiya hesitantly. "One that would determine the fate of the shinobi world," said the elder toad seriously. Fukasaku could see how serious the elder was and he got very nervous. There was only one time in the past where the elder had gotten this serious, and a great change had occurred after that, which changed the shinobi world. "Jiraiya, if that boy loses himself to do the darkness, then the world is doomed. There would be no force in nature that can stop him," warned the elder toad. "Is he that powerful?" asked Jiraiya in shock. He will either become our greatest savior or our worst nightmare. One who would bring great peace or who would destroy the entire world, said the Elder Toad seriously. But how could he turn to darkness? Asked Jiraiya hurriedly. I sense a big event happening in his life, one which would change him forever. For better or for worse I don't know, said the elder tiredly. He had started to feel sleepy again. I will find him, said Jiraiya with determination. And I will not let him fall in darkness. Chapter 8. A hero is born. The Konoha Council sat in their war room. Everyone was looking very tense. Every clan head was in the war room, along with every important commander of the military forces. In the center of the room sat Minato, along with Hiruzen, Jiraiya, the Umbu commander, and Narashikaku. The rest of the clan heads sat in their respective places. Makoto was sitting beside Kagami. She was the head of the medical corps. But she was worried. Her eyes were constantly fixed on one person in the room. That person was none other than her elder son, Naruto Namikaze. He was standing beside his uncle, Shursui, in one corner of the room. Now people would wonder why a 7-year-old child was attending such an important meeting. But there was a big reason for Naruto being present in the war room. It was his duty to be there. He was standing calmly in the room. He had been debriefed earlier as to why he had to be present. He still remembered the talk he had with his father. Naruto stood in his father's study room. It had a lot of books. His father loved reading books of various subjects. There were also a few jutsu scrolls in the room, but Naruto was not allowed to see them without his father's permission. His father was sitting in his armchair. He had a serious look on his face, but Naruto didn't miss his father's worried eyes. Naruto, I have called you here for a specific reason, began Minato gently. He gestured his son to sit on the sofa in front of him. Naruto complied with his father's request, and sat in front of his father, and gave him a serious look. What is it? Asked Naruto curiously. Minato bit his lip. He was nervous. How was he supposed to tell his son? He was just a 7-year-old child. He should be playing and enjoying his childhood. But it seemed fate had other plans. Naruto, the war is now imminent. The enemy has started mobilizing their forces, said Minato gravely. Naruto was very sad after hearing this. He didn't want a world war. It would lead to so much destruction, and countless innocent lives would be lost. I see, said Naruto sadly. I know how you feel. Believe me, if it was in my hands, I would have stopped this war, said Minato gently. I know, Tuchan. I understand. What do you need from me? Asked Naruto seriously. He knew his father needed him right now. His village needed him. Despite being a pacifist, if a war was imminent, he would not hesitate to protect his home. Minato felt proud when he saw the look in Naruto's eyes. He didn't say it, but something in his heart told him that his son was going to change the future of the shinobi world. There is a tradition that has been followed by our village since the Nidame's rule, said Minato slowly. What is this tradition? Asked Naruto seriously. During war times, every clan of Konoha has to send its heir and all of its shinobi to fight. It's a custom which has been followed since the first Great Ninja War, explained Minato briefly. The whole situation now became clearer to Naruto. And since I'm the elder son of the 4th Hokage, as well as the first heir of the Namikaze clan, I have to go the front lines, deduced Naruto analytically. A proud smile came on Minato's face. His elder son was indeed very smart. Yes, it is to show the faith and loyalty of a clan to the village. It was a rule made by Naidame-sama, said Minato seriously. I'll go, but Tuchan, please promise me one thing, said Naruto in a choked voice. He couldn't stop the tears that were slowly started to build in his eyes. His little heart was scared. He was just a 7-year-old child after all. The thought of going to a world war scared him. The thought of losing his father, his mother, and his little brother made him more depressed. He just couldn't bear with the thought of not seeing his family again. He wouldn't lie to himself. He was not invincible, nor was he immortal, or a very strong fighter. He knew anything could happen in a war, but he just didn't want to die yet. Minato sensed his son's pain, and came forward. He put a hand on his shoulders in order to give him some comfort. Please don't let anything happen to Ka-chan and Itachi. Don't ever send my little brother in this war, even if I die, said Naruto, but was cut off. You're not gonna die, you will come back alive, said Minato firmly. I will, but you know anything can happen. I never asked something from you, But please grant my request this time, said Naruto gently. I'll take care of your mother and your brother, said Minato seriously. Promise me, demanded Naruto. Minato looked in his son's desperate eyes. Naruto wouldn't admit it, but he was still far too young to fight. But he had no choice, they were up against an overwhelming enemy force, and Konoha needed every man to fight. Even if they were young kids. This was the harsh reality of the shinobi world. Naruto's generation was the youngest out of all the previous generation, who were going to fight in a world war. I promise, said Minato truthfully. I love you and I'm proud of you, said Minato with a sad smile. Naruto embraced his father tightly. These past few weeks had brought him a lot more closely to his father. Minato hugged his son tightly, a few tears had also slipped from his eyes. He loved his son very much, despite everything, he was his blood. And Minato knew he was sending him straight into the gates of hell. Naruto thought about everything he and his father had shared. He didn't know what these feelings were. Was it respect, maybe, was it love? He looked in his heart, and the answer was pretty clear. Naruto Namikaze did love his father dearly. Both the father and son would stay like that for a few hours, letting out their feelings for each other. However, both the men didn't notice a sad pair of Sharingan eyes that were observing them intently. Nor did they see the tears that were falling from Makoto's eyes. A lone tear slipped from Makoto's eyes, but she quickly wiped it away before anyone could see. However, her pain didn't go unnoticed by her father. Kagami put a hand on his daughter's shoulders, and gave her a comforting smile. It'll be okay, said Kagami gently. Hi, said Makoto slowly. Both the Uchiha were brought out of their talk when they heard Minato's voice. All of you have been summoned here for a reason, which most of you are aware of, said Minato firmly. He received various nods in return. Naruto just stood in a corner and was observing his father closely. The fourth great ninja war has begun, announced Minato seriously. Murmurs started to build up in the war room, everyone was a lot tenser now. However, Minato silenced them by raising his chakra. Kumo, Iwa, and Kiri seem to have formed an alliance, and have formally declared war on us, said Minato calmly. How dare they? This is an outrage. We should make them pay. Numerous shouts could be heard in the room. Naruto could feel a lot of ki being leaked. He felt very uneasy as he was not familiar with so much killing intent. His parents had trained him how to bear with ki, but he was still learning and hadn't mastered how to maintain a calm facade. However, he did try his best to look unaffected, but a little worry could clearly be seen in his eyes. Silence. Minato's angry voice echoed in the entire room. Everyone could feel his ki, and immediately shut their mouth. However, Nara Shikaku, who was the head of the Nara clan, as well as the Jounin commander, wanted to ask a few questions. Hokage-sama, permission to speak, requested Shikaku formally. Minato gave a nod. Everyone looked at the Nara curiously. It was known to almost everyone in Konoha that Shikaku was the most brilliant strategist, and everyone respected him. What is our situation on our alliance with Suna? Asked Shikaku seriously. Minato gave a tired sigh. He knew this was coming, and unfortunately this was where things were going to get worse. They have decided to stay neutral in this war. Suna suffered the worst in the previous war, and the Kazekage is not willing to participate in another war so soon. However, he has promised that Suna is not against Konoha, but they would not join our side, or the enemies, explained Minato briefly. Another round of angry shouts continued for 5 minutes, as everyone was furious on hearing Suna's decision. Only the elders, Danzo and Hiruzen, remained calm, as they knew there were no alliances during wartime. We should declare war on them too, said Tsum Inuzuka, the head of the Inuzuka clan angrily. That would worsen our situation, Tsum-san. We are already at war with 3 hidden villages, adding another village as our enemy is not our best choice. Suna has denied us any military support, but they have secretly agreed to provide us a small supply of weapons and supplies, said Minato with a sigh. That's just their effort to prevent us from not declaring war on them, said Hayashi Hyuga arrogantly. That may be, but any help is appreciated, Hayashi-san. Also, I have some good news too, said Minato a little happily. A lot of members' eyes sparked in hope on hearing their Hokage's words. The rebel forces that are opposing that Mizukage and Kiri have agreed to help us, said Minato encouragingly. A small smile came on some of the members' faces. They felt a little relieved, however some of the older breed knew there was a catch. What do they want in return? Asked Danzo neutrally. He hated the entire situation. Konoha was in danger, and this was all due to their Hokage's incompetence. If only he would have been Hokage. They want our support in their war against the Mizukage, after the end of this war, said Minato truthfully. Before another discussion could start, Hiruzen spoke quickly. This is a difficult choice. We don't know what condition our village would be in, after the war. But we have no choice. The rebels have promised us 3,000 of their shinobi to aid us in this war. Many of them are from bloodline clans, said Hiruzen tactically. That did it. Hiruzen could clearly see the greedy faces of his teammates. Almost everyone was now agreeing with the proposal, as shinobi who possess a Kekkei Genkai were very powerful. This is a logical choice. Who is the leader of these rebels? Asked Inoichi Yamenka curiously. Mei Terumi. She is a formidable kunoichi who has been leading the rebel forces of Kiri for quite few months. As far as we know, her exploits and tactics have severely weakened the Mizukage rule, said Minato honestly. We agree with Hokage-sama. We shall accept the offer of the rebel forces, said Danzo a little too happily. Danzo, you are a sick bastard, thought Minato disgustingly. He knew Danzo had already started thinking of ways of getting the bodies of the Kekkei Genkai shinobi of rebels of Kiri. But even an evil man like Danzo was needed right now. Despite his agenda, he too wanted to protect Konoha, and had a great experience of 3 ninja wars. Minato had to bitterly agree to include Danzo in the war council. Now, Jiraiya-sensei has gathered a lot of information about the enemy. He'll explain what information he has got from his spies, said Minato seriously. Everyone looked at Jiraiya. The man was the best spy master in the shinobi world. However, Jiraiya's eyes seemed to be fixated on Naruto. It was as if there was something in the boy that was attracting Jiraiya to him. Hiruzen elbowed his student slowly and brought him out of his daze. The third Hokage just sighed on his student's antics. Even though Jiraiya acted like an idiot sometimes, he was a powerful ninja, and out of all his 3 students, Hiruzen was only proud of Jiraiya. His prized student Orochimaru had already turned traitor and left the village. He had such high hopes from the man, but he had failed him. Next was his student Tsunade Senju. She was the best medic in the world. But after her brother and fiancé's death, she had left the village. She had also failed Hiruzen. Hiruzen was stopped from getting depressed further as Jiraiya started his explanation of the enemy forces. Since the past year, I had been keeping an eye on Kumo, Iwa, and Kiri. The Tsuchikage and the Reikage were the ones who started this plot, and later on the Mizukage joined too, said Jiraiya calmly. It seems Iwa and Kumo have still not let go of their shameful defeat in the past war, said Takon Kurama tiredly. Yes, they want to destroy Konoha, and take our land. They call their combined armies, as the Heavenly Alliance, said Jiraiya sarcastically. Many members snorted on hearing such an amusing name. Even Naruto couldn't suppress a small smile, which didn't go unnoticed by Makoto. She just felt a little relieved on seeing her son smile. Do we have any information regarding their strength? Asked Shibi Aburame seriously. Their combined armies have a total of 45,000 battle-ready shinobi, said Jiraiya, shocking everyone in the room. This was a very large enemy force. Even though Konoha had a huge military force, it still was not enough in comparison to that of their enemy. How many battle-ready shinobi do we have? Asked Koharu curiously. If we combine the Kiri rebels, we have a battle-ready force of 20,000 shinobi, said Minato, shocking everyone. The fear increased in the people's hearts. Even though they had many powerful shinobi on their side, their army was not even half as big as that of their enemy. But our army is very small in comparison to that of the Heavenly Alliance, argued Choza Kimichi worriedly. He had even stopped eating his chips, and that was a rare thing that he did. That is indeed true, but they don't have our will of fire, said Hiruzen, trying to increase their spirit. Hiruzen, wars cannot be fought by moral alone. We need people to fight and protect Konoha. Your foolish ideals are not applicable anymore, said Danzo harshly. Hiruzen just gave another tired sigh. Even though Danzo's words were like venom, they did have a truth in them. Everyone's spirits broke. Even Minato was oppressed, and didn't know what to say. He was trying to find some words that would bring back his people's confidence. Don't give up. Everyone's eyes snapped up and they searched for the person who had said those words. All the people were quite surprised when a young blonde boy stepped up in the center of the room. Naruto, thought Minato and Makoto worriedly. They didn't want their son to do anything stupid. Minato was just going to stop his son, when Hiruzen and Jiraiya grabbed his shoulders. Minato looked at both of them seriously. Sometimes, young kids can do something that we cannot. These were the only words Hiruzen said, and Jiraiya nodded too. Naruto-san, you have no authority to say anything, said Hayashi irritatingly. How dare the brat speak in such an important meeting? I thought that Konoha was known for being just and allowed everyone to speak. And as far as my authority is concerned, Hayashi-san, I am the elder son of the Hokage of this village, and the heir of the Namikaze clan. That does give me right to speak, said Naruto curtly. His black eyes gave the Hyuga leader a firm gaze, which for a child was quite surprising. The Hyuga leader just gritted his teeth, but didn't say anything further when he noticed Minato's cold eyes on him. But today, I stand before you as a citizen of this village. Honorable council members, I request you to grant me permission to speak a few words, said Naruto formally. Everyone was quite surprised that the Hokage's son had indeed shut the Hayashi's mouth, albeit respectfully. Go ahead, pup, said Sum cheerfully. Naruto indeed reminded her of a certain redhead. The other clan leaders also nodded, and Naruto gave a thankful bow. Unlike all of you, I'm not wise enough to know about war, nor do I know how to fight against such a huge enemy force, began Naruto. All the members were listening to Naruto's words intently. It was as if the boy just knew how to get everyone's attention. But what I do know is that this village was the dream of our ancestors. They sacrificed everything, even their lives for this village. Right from the Shodame, Nidame, White Fawn, Sakumo Ataki, and each and every shinobi who fought, bled, and died for this village wants one thing, said Naruto with determination. Kakashi's eyes widened when he heard Naruto calling his father a hero. He didn't think that Naruto considered his father such a great man. That made him really happy, and he was grateful to the little boy. He could clearly see his fallen comrade Obito in his sensei's son. Is this really my son? Thought an amazed Makoto. Words couldn't describe how proud she felt of her little boy. What is it? Asked Tamura silently. They wanted what I'm asking from you right now. They wanted us to love this village and believe in each other, no matter what the odds may tell us. They never wanted us to give up. They wanted us to protect this village and build a future for the next generation at all costs. This was the dream and the last wish of every hero who died for this village. All the Hokages, and every name on the memorial stone of our village never lost faith in us. They sacrificed their future to give us a new life, said Naruto passionately. Minato, Hiruzen, Jiraiya, and even the Umbu commander were shocked when they saw a little hope returning in the people's eyes. If it ends here, then we would destroy everything they stood for, said Naruto firmly. A few of the members' eyes widened in surprise, as some of them remembered their own parents, family members, friends who gave their life for the village. We're no different from each other, we are facing the same danger, and we all share the same feelings. The enemy is far greater in numbers than us, and if each one of us just fights for themselves, we will never win, said Naruto truthfully. A few of the members' heads dropped in shame as they realized their mistake. True strength isn't in numbers. Let me ask you one question. If even one of you doesn't have any answer for this question, then I would not say anything further, said Naruto sternly. What is it? Asked Inoichi curiously. He was really impressed with the boy. He was an interrogator, and the way the boy was inspiring the people was astonishing. He was giving hope where there was none. He was showing light where there was darkness. Do you have someone who's precious to you? The one person for whom you would gladly give your life, asked the boy innocently. Every member of the council, except for Danzo and his teammates, nodded. My Gigi, and my mother taught me that if there is someone precious to us, then and only then the true strength of a shinobi can emerge. I love this village, and every person in it with all my heart. And I'm ready to sacrifice everything, even my life for it. Are you ready to do the same, or will you give up? Asked Naruto seriously. Everyone's eyes widened when they heard the truth in the boy's words. Each of them thought about their family, their children. What would happen if they gave up? Would they sacrifice their future just because the enemy had a larger army? They were further shocked when they felt a powerful burst of chakra in the entire room. They looked up and saw Naruto's entire body was covered in blue flames. His black eyes were shining vigorously. Such a powerful chakra, thought Hiruzen and Jiraiya in shock. His chakra is visible, thought the Inoshikacho trio in amazement. Is this boy real? Thought Sum in shock. Interesting, thought Danzo and the elders. His power is incredible, thought Shisui and Kakashi with wide eyes. Shibi didn't comment, but if one could see carefully, he too had his eyebrows up. While Hayashi was just silent, he was very angry. That's my son, thought Makoto happily. He'll grow up to be a great shinobi, thought Kagami proudly. You did what I could not do, Naruto. You instilled hope in your people. You will become a far greater Hokage than me. No father could ever ask for a better son than you, thought Minato proudly. Even if I'm the last one standing, I'll defend this village, and my family, until the end. No matter what happens, I'll never give up, yelled Naruto passionately. His chakra then burst, the wooden floors cracked, and several cuts appeared on the tables. A powerful gust of wind flew through the entire room and everyone could see the power of Namikaze Naruto. There was pin-drop silence in the room. Everyone was looking at each other, there was a fire burning in every person's eyes. Everyone nodded, and a determined look came on their faces. We can win. Let us show them. Konoha is strong. As long as we have Naruto-sama, we can win. Naruto was quite surprised when everyone was cheering for him. The entire room erupted with loud clapping and cheers, people were cheering for the little boy. Makoto had a few tears of joy in her eyes, she couldn't control anymore and grabbed her son in a fierce hug. The chakra dissipated, and Naruto looked at his mother curiously. Did I do the right thing? Asked Naruto curiously. Of course, silly, you were amazing, said Makoto with a giggle. Nice kid, not too shabby, said Jiraiya with a proud smile. Way to go there, Blondie, said Sum proudly. Many people came over and patted the little boy, making him blush further in embarrassment. He suddenly felt a little awkward with being in the center of so many people. Do you see it, Minato? Asked Hiruzen with a knowing smile on his face. Yes, Sanim-sama, we probably have found a good candidate for the next Hokage, said Minato proudly. Hiruzen agreed with him. Perhaps, you are the child of prophecy, wondered Jiraiya.
That's everything for this episode. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to like and subscribe.